Well, on bitter cold days like today, helps to have little things to remind you of our warmer months.
How about curing some of that cabin fever by building your very own indoor garden? Dale Kay shows us how it's done.
G'day everyone. I know it's the middle of January. It's cold, but don't let that get you down at all, because we're gonna have a little fun this morning doing some indoor gardening. Sure beats gardening outdoors at this time of year. This morning I'm gonna make a terrarium. It's quite easy to do, but most importantly, as I mentioned, it's a lot of fun. So a terrarium is basically just a glass or clear vessel. They come in many different shapes and sizes, from like a small mason jar you could plant a little plant in, up to some really large fish bowls. Even fish tanks, for that matter, make a great large indoor garden. I'm gonna stick with a traditional little fish bowl, easy to kind of get started with, and then of course the mechanics of it are the fun part. So of course we need plants, and I like to use small plants. This is a 2-inch size pot. Of course there's 2, 4, 6-inch, 10-inch, all those bigger plants, 17-inch, but we're going to start with the very baby ones in a 2-inch pot. The biggest thing, or the most important thing to remember, is these plants do grow, so don't overcrowd your terrarium to begin with. And it's always a good idea to maybe have a pair of pruners on hand, because you may do a little bit of pruning just to keep them contained. So from there, what I like to incorporate firstly is some activated horticultural charcoal. That'll just make sure that as I'm watering or misting my terrarium, whoops, the activated charcoal will keep the soil kind of sweet and make it not so icky at the bottom. Now there's lots of different kind of ways you can kind of do your terrarium. This one here just has potting soil in the bottom and then some moss on top. I like to create a layer, almost like a layer cake, so I get a little bit of interest at the bottom. So I'm going to use some stones. Actually, these clear ones might show up really nice on the bottom. So that'll be the first layer that we basically see. And then next will be our potting soil. And I like to use a scoop, because sometimes the neck of these bowls are a little hard to get into. And this is, of course, is an indoor soilless potting soil. Now I also have these little indoor gardening tools as well, and even a pair of forceps to get plants into where you need them is kind of handy. But these little indoor gardening tools are quite handy as well. So I think I've got room for about 3 plants, and I think this little fern, I love ferns in terrariums. There, so we've got all our plants in place. Then I could put some decorative bark. There's terrarium kits. There's a forest floor kit, some more stones. It's really up to you as far as the design. Since I've got the fern in there, I might do a little combination of moss and some bark. You could even get some twigs, or really anything from the garden as well. If you're out on a walk, you could kind of find some things to pop in there as well. Then finally, we'll just put some handfuls of bark. There we go. A nice little terrarium. It's got some layers, some interest, good quality potting soil, some fun plants, and that way you can garden all winter long. Back to you.
Oh, I love that. I love terrariums. They're kind of making a comeback too.
Whenever you see one of those, though, don't you like start looking for a creature? Like, I feel like there needs to be a frog or a lizard in there.
No, you're just weird.
I'm like, this has got to have some kind of a creature living in it. It's just too cute.